Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah. What if I told you if one of the world's largest religious movements is neither just a faith nor a religion? How would that be possible? What is it then? Why does it matter what it's called? I'm not going to play semantics with you. I'm going to tell you what you need to know about the essence of Islam, of what's called Islam. You know, modern interpreters appear to be either not very well versed in the classical standard Arabic or in modern English, or both. Because what we get is a hodge-podge of some foreign words translated into other foreign words that currently don't convey the meaning intended by the original source. For example, Allah the Almighty and the Supreme said in translation, "Indeed, the religion with Allah is Islam." Chapter Offspring of Imran, Ayah 19. And he said, translated, "Whoever is looking for a religion other than Islam will not have that accepted, and he will be a loser in the ultimate life." Chapter Offspring of Imran and Ayah 85. And he also said, translated, "Today I completed for you your religion, and I am satisfied with Islam as your religion." Chapter The Feast, Ayah 3. And in the prophetic narration, when the two angels that would come to the deceased and would ask him a series of questions like, "Who is your Lord? What's your religion? And who is your prophet?" and so on. While the sentences may be perfectly understandable from an English speaker point of view, they completely fail to convey the simplicity and pragmatism of the orders and explanations sent to us by the Creator of the universe. Not only that, but the word religion carries many negative and misleading stories of the past attached to the term, as well as tinges of optional, debatable, interpretative maybe, or ethnically customary for certain people, and other connotations traditionally attached to that word. Simplifying, religion is not quite what it was meant by the Quranic verses and the prophetic words. We must acknowledge that the modernization of Arabic and the wide acceptance of foreign words and curriculums, along with regionalization, produced the dialects and slangs that affected the people's understanding of the terms, as much, if not more, than foreign translations and analogies. So a modern Arabic speaker may not be adequately understanding the meaning of the old Arabic word. But it's not just a language problem. Learning classical Arabic is the best solution, as we know, to many knowledge problems the Muslims face today. Yes, that's true. Learning classical Arabic, it's a must, and everyone must strive to achieve that. And that would also help clear any misconceptions the non-Muslims have about Islam. But let's set that aside for a moment. In most translations, you will find that the very word deen is translated as a religion. In many dictionaries, even the majority of modern Arabic speakers themselves understand that word as a religion. So Allah's commands are often translated as "Our religion is Islam," or "Indeed, the religion is Islam," or "The angels will ask the deceased person in the grave, 'What's your religion?' and so on. That creates a misunderstanding and lack of clarity that prevents both the new Muslims and the traditional immigrant Muslims from understanding what the Almighty Allah requires from the people exactly. But let's examine it closer. Non-Muslim authors argue between the following two etymologies of the word religion. Some of them say it comes from the Latin verb religare, meaning to bind or to reconnect. And among them, for example, some Christian religious authors like St. Augustine and Lactantius, they trace the word to religare from re, meaning again, and ligare means to bind. So to bind again, to reconnect. Under that interpretation, religion signifies like rebinding or reconnection between the humanity and divine. That's what they say. Some of others say it comes from the verb religere, to ponder and to read again. The Roman philosopher Cicero, for example, proposed that the word derives from religere, meaning again, and legere, meaning to read, go over, or consider carefully. In fact, both of these terms have the equivalent in Islam. For example, the first one, to reconnect, to bind, to reconnect, means exactly the word islah in Arabic. And religere means to ponder over, to go read carefully and think about. It's called the dhikr or tadhakkur in Arabic. But as you can see, the Western and particularly English etymology does not allow us to see the word religion as an acceptable translation of the Arabic word deen in any theological context. Simply speaking, a regular English-speaking person with a regular education will think about religion as something completely different than what Islam is. And for that, let's mention that the word al-Islam is translated as the obedience itself. We will return to this term in a separate conversation because it's worth a separate program, inshallah, Allah willing. But for now, let's look at the word deen, the most authoritative source on the classical standard Arabic language in which the Holy Quran and the prophetic stories and deeds were recorded, states deen means first obligation, mission, something mandatory, forced, enforced, legislated, ordered, or demanded. Meaning number two, it's obedience, subjugation, submission, compensation, payback, responsibility. And number three, deen also means customary, a way of life, implementation of something, command, task, load, habitual thing, social norm. It all comes from, like I said, Ibn Mandur, from the book Lisan al-Arab. In English, it means the language of the Arabs. Well, let's take that into consideration and try to interpret the very well-known verses with that exact meaning and see what would happen. So let's say Allah, the Almighty and the Supreme, said, Inna dina inda Allahi al-Islam, and so on to the end of the surah. That's from Surah Al Imran, chapter or ayah 19. And now we can translate it as the only obligation that Allah considers is your obedience. Compare it to the conventional but enigmatic and hardly understandable. Indeed, the religion with Allah is Islam. So both words, religion and Islam, are foreign words that people, English-speaking people, regular school people, they wouldn't understand. They wouldn't know what they mean, or they would match them to something completely different from their background. Again, that means the only obligation that Allah would consider is your obedience. Or he also said, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين. Also from Al Imran, chapter 85. And if we translate it correctly, it would mean, whoever is trying to fulfill for Allah any obligation other than his obedience will not have that accepted from him, and he will be a loser in the ultimate life. It's again chapter from Offspring of Imran, Ayah 85. And that sounds much more understandable and practical, much cleaner, compared to the old translation, whoever is looking for religion other than Islam. So again, two foreign words, barely relatable to a modern mind. He also said in another place, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيتم لكم الإسلام دينا. And that's from Surah Al-Ma'idah, or the feast, paragraph 3. I completely formulated your obligations today, and I'm content with your obedience as the only obligation. Again, it's much more practical than, today I completed for you your religion and I'm satisfied with Islam as your religion. Again, hard to understand, hard to implement in your real day-to-day life. Or from the hadith, يقال له يا هذا ما ربك وما دينك وما نبيك رواه أبو داود وأحمد. It's from the prophetic deeds and words that the deceased in the grave will be asked by strong and scary angels. He will be asked, hey, such and such, they will call him by name. Who's your owner? So that's much more relatable than the Lord, you know. They will also ask, what is your mission? What was your mission in life? And then they will ask him, who was your prophet who informed you about those two things? And let's hope that we all answer those questions correctly. But now the meanings, as you can see, they become much clearer, more practical and understandable by any modern English speaker. Now you can finally remind yourself of your mission daily when you remember those words and those chapters from the Quran and those stories from the Prophet and about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now you can finally remember that you have an owner, a real, true, living owner who owns you day and night and always is watching you and listening to you. And that you are just a slave whose value to the owner is only in obeying the owner's commands. Now that is much more practical than just saying the word Lord, for example. Who is Lord? Nobody remembers lords now, the lords of the past, of the medieval times. You know, or what's your religion? The person first will think, modern person, especially the young kids, they think, well, what's religion? Religion is something from the customs of the old folks. That's what they think. But if you ask them, what was your mission in life? Did you have a mission? And that becomes much scarier and much clearer and much more worthy of reminding yourself about. And you can finally ponder into the life, into your actions and words, and also into the actions and the words of the human who was specifically created for acquainting people, including yourself and myself, with their mission and their owner, the owner who charged them with that mission. And of course, that person is Muhammad, our messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And it's just a small reminder to learn Arabic, classical standard Arabic, and try to see what you read from practical standpoint, from the meaning of the words. Use dictionaries. You can download them for free. For example, you can download Ibn Mandur, Lisan al-Arab, for free. And it's amazing that the most precious book on Arabic language is free. All right, and that was it for today, and we'll return to the other terms, inshallah, in the future. And with that, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. الصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى أصحابه وأهله أجمعين وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.